I have the honor to deliver this intervention on behalf of the country of the ALBA Group on climate change, Cuba, Dominica, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. We want to begin by acknowledging all the effort that has been made by the Secretariat, the presidents of COP25 and COP26, and the chairs of the subsidiary bodies to make this event logistically possible, and also to all of those who have made enormous efforts to participate from different parts of the world. A positive side of this event to highlight is the opportunity to reconnect in the discussions on climate change in the middle of the reality that we are living. However, we have to note that this situation has widened the gap between developed and developing countries with regard to participation, affecting the condition of equality among parties. Distinguished chairs, the ALBA Group believes that the vaccine for global warming is the implementation of the Convention from a perspective of international cooperation and solidarity, its principle and provision, as well as its related agreements. Complying with the Convention and the Paris Agreement is vaccinating ourselves against global warming. From the discussion that have taken place, the issue of climate finance is an aspect of fundamental importance for climate action, as well as the means of implementation. Both are crucial to support the implementation of national determined contributions in developing countries, and it is interrelated with the increased ambition. A post-pandemic scenario of deep economic recession that compromises climate action and climate financing is worrying. A recent diagnosis made by the CLAC on the impact of the pandemic in our region shows a setback in the achievement of overcoming poverty levels of at least 10 years, which made the issue of climate financing an imperative to support developing countries to cover climate action, and fundamentally for adaptation. In addition to this, the intensification of extreme meteorological events and their devastating effects that represent an extraordinary expense in damages and losses. The issue of loss and damage should be given the same treatment as mitigation and adaptation to climate change. The application of unilateral coercive measures and financial blockade policies affect national action in the struggle against climate change and exacerbate the climate vulnerability of the population and the response capacity. These actions are contrary to the international law. A link between pre-2020 goals not achieved in terms of financing must be established, with the new goals to be proposed in the post-2020 stage, such as the goal of contribution of US $100 billion annually. Developed countries must move to post-2020 with more ambitious goals to cover the gap in their commitment not achieved in pre-2020. Regarding Article 6, it is important to conclude the implementation arrangement next year, based on the idea that it should avoid the reuse of false climate solution. For this, it is essential to bring the discussion to a more understandable levels in accordance with the objective set for a cooperation mechanism, and not a market-based solution. For the ALBA Group, it is essential the voluntary nature of the options provided in this section. Finally, the ALBA Group firmly believes that the human dimension of climate change should be an aspect of fundamental attention in a post-pandemic recovery phase. It is urgent to integrate all vulnerable groups to climate change in the climate-related action: indigenous, Afro-descendant, and women. And finally, we say to all of you, viviremos y venceremos.